affectionately known as and I have my family here. But I'm going to introduce two people. I'm going to introduce the first person who is responsible for us being here. Then I'm going to reintroduce my husband so that he can bring on Brother Dr. Umar. I want to thank everyone for coming out this evening. As you all know, no matter what city, town, where you're from, we're all having these problems with our youth being educated, with our school systems, with the disparities and suspensions and the push-out that's going on, the medication, the labeling of children, the inferiority that comes with the label, so forth and so on. I can go on all day. Most of you all know, if you live in Syracuse, regarding the suspension report, that we have failing schools, and then you also notice that you see a lot of kids on the corner. Tonight you're going to get some of the answers to why you see some of that. Some of them will be commonly known, some of them will be shocking. So brace yourself and be prepared. But before we get to that, our longtime friend is the executive director of the DUNBAR Center. This building here holds historical significance in the community. And I'll let him tell you a little bit about that. However, I just want to take the time because our ancestors came and they provided for us a center like DUNBAR so that we could get educational, vocational assistance for our youth way back when this was considered the 15th ward. So I just want us to recognize the building, what it stands for, what we are. Without any further ado, Mr. Edwards, Julius Edwards, you guys.
Good evening.
Good evening.
How you all doing?
Good.
Thanks for coming out on a very humid night and on July 3rd. I appreciate it. I know there are a lot of people busy, but you all were busy getting here so that you can get the information that's going to be disseminated by our beloved brother, Dr. Umar. As Twiggy mentioned, my name is Julius Edwards. I am a native Syracusan, born, raised, and bred here in Syracuse, Central New York. Went to all of the public schools, formally educated at Umar College and Syracuse University, and informally educated by my mother, Odessa Edwards, so I'm thankful for that. DUNBAR Center has an iconic presence in this community. Most of you may or may not know, but DUNBAR was the first resettlement house in Central New York, and so with folks migrating north looking for opportunities and looking for jobs, etc., DUNBAR was the place that facilitated life and the quality of life for black folks here in Syracuse and Central New York. Since 1918, we've been in 2 other locations that have been designated as historic sites. We have prominence in terms of our archives, letters from Martin Luther King and Coretta Scott King and others. We played an important role in terms of conversations and communication with the Emancipation Day celebration in nearby Peterborough, New York. If you're not familiar, much of the genesis of the Emancipation Proclamation, the discussions took place in Peterborough, New York. The women's suffragist movement took place in Peterborough, New York, and DUNBAR had a lot to do with the conversations that took place at that time. Since then, we've gone through a variety of different evolutions, some good, some bad, but the bottom line is that we're still here, we're still standing, and we are the only black-owned community-based organization here in Syracuse. Some may not want to be, we're going to make sure that we do our part to ensure that the legacy and the history and the future of DUNBAR continues. So thank you, Dr. Umar, for blessing us with your presence and, more importantly, the information that you impart to us. And hopefully this will just be the beginning of an ongoing dialogue that will lead to strategies of how we begin to save our children here in this community. Thank you very much for attending.
Let's give our brother another round of applause. I say that because we need to recognize not only that, but he's the reason why we're here in this building, that we have a place to have Dr. Umar, Brother Umar, and welcome him into our community. You know, it could have been a lot of other communities, but we want to be in our community. We want to be in the community that we reside in, that most folks that are needing to hear the message is in this community. A couple of years ago, my husband said to me that he wanted to be able to make a difference in the community, a little bit more than what we were already doing. And I was kind of wondering how we're going to do more than what we already do, because we do a lot. And some of you shaking your head, but we do an awful lot. And we give a lot of ourselves. So to hear an African-American male, a strong brother, a proud black brother, my husband say that he wanted to make a difference in the lives of those in the city of Syracuse and reach out far beyond the city of Syracuse if he could, was life-changing for me. That's what brought Brother Umar into our lives. At the same time that he said that, we inherited an 8-year-old great-nephew. And that 8-year-old great-nephew is being pushed into kindergarten into a possible realm of being medicated at 5 years old for the rest of his life. And we knew based on our own children that that didn't need to happen. All we needed to do was take time, slow it down, get some good diagnosis going on, and even respect and know the law. And my husband was adamant that I learn the law while he brings the speakers to me, which was fine because it was a partnership, and that's what I love to do. And from that grew F.A.M Fridays, where some of you all have seen my Alpha 21 Hidden Colors 1 and 2. From that grew the African Urban Perspective, where we met weekly for over 2 years at the Southwest Center. About 12, 15 brothers. Raise your hand if you were in here part of the African Urban Perspective meetings and attended those meetings. And it morphed into F.A.M Friday 315. Family, F.A.M Friday, being on Fridays, having something to do with your family, and the 315 represented his mother, God bless her soul, who had passed away. So a lot of people thought 315 was Syracuse, but it was actually his mother's birthday. So when that grew and I was seeing how it was growing, I felt very endeared that my husband, this wonderful man, was able to take a thought that was in the back of his imagination, pull it forward, and then bring someone like Brother Umar, Dr. Umar now, to Syracuse to meet us. So at this time, I want to introduce my husband, Rasimian Anu, affectionately known to some as Andre Villieu. But Rasimian, could you please come forward? Just so you all know, without him, this is my support, this is my strength. I wouldn't be able to do what I do in the city of Syracuse.
That's right.
Greetings, everyone. And before we start the program, I just want to stand up and give a moment of silence to the ancestors. Usually how we do that, we do it in the calm position. It's an ancient Kemet position that represents the soul. So everybody could hold their hands up. And if you have a personal ancestor, it don't have to be, you know, from Kemet or whatever. It could be your grandmother, your grandfather, your sister, brother, cousin, a close friend. Anybody that means something to you, right now is the time to acknowledge them because they are our ancestors. Give thanks and praises to all the ancestors and ancestors known and unknown. Like I said, I would like to thank everyone for coming out. For all my guests, thank you for coming out and participating in this event. That's basically what F.A.M Friday is about. It's about freeing the African mind. And we do that, you know, with a platform by bringing speakers in like Dr. Umar. We brought in Brother Tahuti. I have talked to Professor Spars and Dr. Hiawatha Kamene, you know, people that you might have heard about that I'm trying to get here to Syracuse. But the only way we could do that is, you know, everybody have to participate. Because, you know, I'm independent, as you can see. I don't work with no big groups or no big networks. Everything that I do or you see happening here, I have done, on my own and with peoples in the community who believed in my work, believed in my effort, see the same vision that I was seeing, so, it was no problem for them participating. Shout out to all the black businesses here in Syracuse, because if it wasn't for them, World of Music, K-Love, Brother Robert in Harlem Imports, and a few other brothers, Brother Jake in Luxurious Wellness downtown, Luxurious Wellness and Entertainment, he's downtown on Jefferson. All of these brothers have helped make this event possible. So like my wife said, it was just a vision that I had, that I ran past her, because she's the only one that could give me the permission to do this, because one thing about doing the ancestor work and participating in the struggle, you have to give up a lot of your personal time, your personal self. In essence, you're not an ordinary person. In this journey, you come to a crossroads sometime, because you know that you're not living the normal life. Like the person who could just go home and, have dinner ready for them, get to lay down, and share, personal information with loved ones. When you're in this field, some of that stuff don't even exist, man. And because of that, it makes this struggle a very lonely, a very hard, but well worth. I just slipped my mind with the words, but it could become lonely sometimes. We need to understand that. The work that Dr. Umar do is very critical to our existence, man. This is not no entertainment. This brother is truly doing the ancestors' work. And because of that, we have to celebrate whatever this brother do, man. Because he's doing it for the best interest of the collective. And by him doing that, we all have to recognize it and support, whatever this brother is trying to do to raise up our consciousness. Because we're in a very critical time now. And he's like one of the last, I like to say, the last of the airbenders. You see in the movie, The Last of the Airbenders. This brother is like one of the last of the airbenders, man. I compare him with Gary. I compare him with Dr. King. I compare him with Malcolm. Every time this brother opened up his mouth, I hear all the work of the ancestors coming into his message, man. And that's why, this brother, he has a special place in my heart. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, we come to a crossroad where, you have to decide if this is the right thing for you, because the normal life is there for you, that is there for everybody. The struggle is there too, but it's not for everybody, you know what I mean? And it's, when you make that decision to forsake, your own interests for the interests of the collective, that's like a blessing, man. Even though it's a hard choice, it's still a blessing, because in the end, all what this brother is trying to do will be fulfilled because of his commitment. And I'm not going to sit up here and talk, because we already over. It's the top of the hour, 7 o'clock. So with no further ado, give this brother a strong black hand, Dr. Umar Abdullah Johnson.
bring this up a little bit proper. Good evening, everybody. It's an honor to be back in Syracuse. I'm going to start my presentation with a quote from the Honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey, who said, "If the black man and woman are not careful, they will drink in all the poison of Western civilization and die from the effects of it." If they're not careful, we will drink in all the poison of Western civilization and die from the effects of it. I think that there's no better example of us drinking in that poison than sending our children to schools that are not controlled by their own community. I also believe that until we begin to properly educate our own children, we will not be able to fix the situation that we face as a people. Given the post-traumatic slavery disorder of African people, that necessitates and dictates that we recondition a new generation with a new type of thinking. A lot of us think that we have done that with the information. A lot of our scholars teach that simply knowing who you are and where you come from will undo the Willie Lynch chip. I'm here to tell you as a psychologist, they are wrong. And I love them all. But information alone is not going to change the way black people think, feel, and function. You have to be conditioned out of that. It wasn't purely misinformation that turned us into the Negro. It was the conditioning that turned us into the Negro. And you're going to need conditioning to get us up out of this situation. There's an African proverb that says, every newborn child is a message from the Creator that he, she hasn't given up on us yet. So every time a new baby is born, that means that God ain't done with black folk yet. The problem is we keep on socializing that child to think, act, and behave the same way we do. So every child born today is destined to be a Negro because that's how he's going to be raised, by Negroes. And so what becomes necessary is the same thing the military does when they want to recondition you. What do? They cut you off from all outside influences. For 3 months, 6 months, it don't take a lot of time until they strip you of your previous conditioning and give you a new one. Religions do the same thing. You go from the mosque to the church, from the church to the mosque. What do? They inoculate you against any other propaganda from the outside, and then they fill you up with what they want you to believe. We have to do the same thing with revolutionary Pan-African nationalism. We have to build not only schools, but residential schools to keep the parents the hell away from the children. In my school that I'm working on building now, the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Re-Africanization Academy for Boys, and the Amy Douglas, and the Anna Douglas, Frederick's wife, the Anna Douglas and Amy Jakes and Ashwood Garvey Academy for the Girls, the long-term goal is to be residential. Because you cannot take a child from the home, and I know this from being a therapist, you cannot take the child from the home, do therapy on the depressed child, and send them back to the home that made them depressed. Same thing when it comes to re-Africanization. You can't take the child out of a Negro home for 7 hours, recondition their mind, and then send them back. Because what you did from 8 to 3, the parents are going to undo from 3 to 8 the next morning. So it got to be a residential academy. And in my school, as I've stated before, the 6 sciences upon which the education will be based. Number 1, agricultural and agronomical science. Those babies that be taught not only how to grow, that's not enough no more. They have to be taught agronomical science as a precursor to agricultural, because they got to be able to test the soil to see if it's even worthy of growing any crops in it. There's a lot of people who can grow, but they can't test the soil for nutritional content.
So you're eating empty vegetables and empty fruit. There's no culture without agriculture. When you study African revolutions, you'll find what? That Amilcar Cabral, who was the leader of the revolutionary struggle in the West African country of Guinea-Bissau, was able to successfully overcome European colonialism. Because when the white man cut off the food supply to the rebels living out in the jungles, they was able to live off the land. And he couldn't understand how they were still living when we didn't cut off their food, because he taught them how to make food out of the trees and out of the soil and out of the plants and out of the weeds. We got to do the same thing. Agricultural science is an aspect of military science. Those who can live off the land will live a long time. You saw the Rambo movies. If you can make it on the land, you can make it forever. But if you have a store-based approach to food, where you only eat if you can buy it, you're in a whole lot of trouble. Second science is economic and financial. As a people, we are money illiterate. We don't know much about stocks, bonds, mutual funds. We don't know much about multinational corporations. We don't know much about how to invest in raw minerals and resources and then turn that into capital. We don't know about that. So we have to teach our children how to do that. United States Small Business Association wants you to do what? Settle for a small business. I'm tired of small black businesses. So the white man got large businesses and we got small ones. That's not going to work. We're the largest race on the planet. We need large businesses like everybody else. Mom and pop stores ain't going to get it done no more. Large business, not small business. So we got to teach our children the science of money, which I believe is the Achilles heel of the black struggle. How many scholars have we buried who are dead, broke, and poor? Right now, we collecting money for Dr. Ben to get his bills paid. He's one of the most preeminent scholars of this century, and we got to collect money. One thing we cannot do is suffer from paralysis of analysis. We have to be able to analyze what we do right and what we do wrong. And anybody who thinks that we don't need to make changes is out of their mind. Because if we didn't need to make changes, we would have no problems to be talking about. We got to get that financial science together. I once did therapy with a Jewish American child in Center City, Philadelphia. In conversation with his father, who was in real estate, he said to me, in essence, Mr. Johnson, I don't understand my wife, who is Russian. He said, she don't want to listen to me. I'm trying to teach this woman that if she invests her money properly in real estate, she will never have to work a day in her life. I'm listening to this. This is what he's telling me. I said, what? I never heard that before. Those are those financial secrets that other people live by that they don't tell us about. That the proper usage of buying and selling and renting in real estate can make you perpetually free economically without having to work. Remember, top 1% of Americans live on unearned income. In other words, they live off your sweat labor, your sweat equity. You're working, they at the golf course. It's not about working hard, it's about working smart. Why ain't the top 1% of black people living off unearned income? Lord knows most of the resources that make the world go around are in our ground in Africa. But we struggle, while people who come from other continents with almost no resources are living comfortably. So the next science we have to teach our children is political and military. Yes, we're going to teach your son how to shoot. We're going to teach your daughter the science of archery and African martial arts. Why? Because we live in a violent world. And anybody in here who wants to kill yourself and thinking that you're going to be able to solve this problem with Jesus or Muhammad, you've lost your mind. You're going to have to solve it with your own two hands. Jesus and Muhammad might be an ally, but they will not be the deciding force. You must be. And so we're going to teach them how to shoot. We're going to teach them how to live off the land. We're going to teach them how to cleanse their own urine if there's no drinkable water so they can live off of that. Because unlike you, I happen to know that one day America will no longer be America. It's going to disintegrate into 3 distinct nations, and there will be 3 civil wars taking place simultaneously. That must happen in order for the New World Order to be perfected. America itself must descend into chaos, as you see happening in Egypt on television today. All these are staged. They are designed. You think it's going to go around the whole world and not hit here? Did it not happen in Russia? It's going to happen here too. And you better be prepared. Because the minute there's martial law in America, and you already have martial law in the black community, but the minute you have it in America, white folks will start shooting black folks down like crazy. I hope you're paying attention to the Zimmerman case, because it's the first significant stand your ground test trial in the history of that law. If that man gets off, or if he gets a life sentence, that is basically the green light for white folk to start shooting black folk every place. And what makes the stand your ground law so interesting? Because it's not a self-defense law. It doesn't have nothing to do with self-defense. You can kill if you believe, if you feel that your life was being threatened. You do not have to prove that the person you killed was trying to kill you. You just got to prove that you felt threatened. What kind of law is that? So any black man walking down the street at any given night with a white person on the street can be perceived as a threat, because that's the dominant image of the black man as a criminal. It's time to wake up and smell the coffee. What else are we going to teach him? We're going to teach him the science of the black man and the science of the black woman. What do I mean by that? Our boys are going to be taught to study the African queen as a science. Her menstrual, her hormones, how she develops, the phases her body goes through when she has a child. Why are we going to do that? Because if we want to teach our young men to respect our women, they got to see her as a divinity manifested. They're going to walk around with a textbook on the black woman, the boys. And the girl's going to do the same thing. He's going to know what to do when she's pregnant. He's going to know when to be bothered with her and when to leave her the hell alone. Because sometimes y'all just need to be left alone. He's going to know that cycle. And sisters are going to study the boys. And we also want to teach them nutritional and dietary science. Because 75% of black people are dying from preventable disease. Growing the food don't mean nothing if you don't eat it. So we got to teach nutritional and dietary science. And the last science, one of my favorite, to be taught will be the science of African spirituality. We're not going to talk about your Bible or your Quran or your Torah. Whatever paternalistic religion you belong to, we're not going to condemn it. Okay? But we're going to teach them about the power of the ancestors. And we're going to teach them about the power of the various divinities that exist. If you're Muslim or Christian, they're called angels. But if you're in the African tradition, they're called Neteru, or Loa, or Obusum, or Orisha. And how those spirits are around you all the time, that they exist not separate from God, but as fingers of the one God. See, in African religion, the Creator has 3 distinct states. Lord of creation, creation itself, and as the Creator. 3 into 1. That's what the Bible does. They're going to learn that. They're going to learn about voodoo, which you're afraid of, which is nothing more than the worship of the various energies of the one divinity. We do not believe in a million gods. I don't know what person told y'all that. We believe in one God manifested and personified a million different ways. That's the African way. Because we happen to know that none of us can totally comprehend the grandeur of the infinite invisible. So we approach the Creator through the various manifestations. We know the 3 paternalistic religions claim to know everything about God and know absolutely nothing. In African religion, we're humble. We know we don't know everything. So we deal with that which we know. We're going to teach them ancestor veneration, not worship, because we worship the Most High. But in African culture, we continue to deal with our ancestors as if they were living, because they still are. There is no death in our culture. So in our homes, we have altars for our living dead. We have incense and candle and water and plant and a bell to call on them when we want to have a conversation. And we sit in front of our ancestor and pour libation in front of the altar and talk to grandma and grandpa and cousin and uncle and niece and nephew, those who left before their time. And we ask them to intervene in our affairs. We don't call on naked little white boys with wings on their backs. We don't call on saints of the Roman Catholic Church. We call on our own ancestors, because in our religion, our ancestors are our angels. They're going to learn that. And for my mothers in the room, I want y'all to know that when your daughter shows up for the first day of school, if she shows up with a wig or weave, perm or hair color, I'm a trained barber. I will shave her head myself. Only natural hair in my school. Now you say, why? What they got to do with you teaching my daughter anything? Because I cannot teach science. I cannot teach math. I cannot teach politics. I cannot teach history until I first teach your daughter to love who God made. It is a contradiction for me to say I got a re-Africanization academy with 300 little black girls doing their best to look like 300 little white girls. They must be taught to love themselves first, and then we can start the education. So that's, I didn't say y'all had to shave. Y'all from another generation. Y'all not going to shave. But they will come shaving, or they won't come at all. And what is the beauty in that? The beauty is that the boys are going to grow up only being attracted to natural hair. Because all they're going to see from kindergarten to 12th grade are natural black women. So we won't have to worry about the Michael Jordan syndrome after graduation. We won't have to worry about the Tiger Woods syndrome after graduation, or the Kobe Bryant syndrome, or the James Earl Jones syndrome, or the Sidney Poitier, or the Tim Duncan syndrome. It won't exist. Because in our school, we're going to socialize them to love themselves. In our school, the children will study abroad in Africa for at least a year. You can come with them if you want, to the bush. They're going to have to learn an African language in order to graduate. We're going to have an aviation academy where they'll be taught to fly planes. They'll get a junior pilot's license. Because one day we might have to get the hell up out of here in 5 minutes, and we need to be able to fly now. We're going to have a maritime program where they learn how to float ships. Not boats, ships. You talk about nationhood. Show me the independent African schools in America that's teaching nation-building skills. I don't see it, so I got to do it. But until such time that gets created, we got to deal with the miseducation machine. And I came here tonight to equip you with some information you can use to help protect your young folks, male and female, but especially male, who are being devoured by America's rites of passage for black boys. And what is the rites of passage for black boys according to the American social order? From pre-K to 3rd grade, we're going to miseducate. From 4th grade to 7th grade, we're going to special educate. From 7th grade to 9th grade, we're going to psychiatrically medicate. And then 10th grade to 12th, we're just going to wait for them to drop out of school. That's how America does this. So effective that only 1 out of every 4 black boys gets a diploma in this country. So effective that public school is being disintegrated as you sit here. I just came back from Chicago, my most requested city to speak. They shut down 60 schools. Philadelphia, where I live, 50. New York City, shut them down. I just came from Norfolk. Shut them down. I just came from Texas. Shut them down. I predicted this 10 years ago. They said they're going to kill public school. What are you talking about? They're not going to shut down public school. I said, are you aware that the United States Constitution does not mention the word education? Are you aware that your children don't have a federal right to learn nothing? Are you aware that half the white people in America do not have children who either attend public school or no longer need school? Are you aware that the American economic order no longer needs black and brown people in order to function? They got over 4 million illegal immigrants who are willing to work for less than minimum wage. What the hell we still need a Negro for? Public school was started to give big business a better educated Negro to work in the factory. But if there is no factories, if there is no more jobs, what do you need public school for? You don't. And so they're using the charter schools to kill the public schools. And I told black people about the charter schools. If any of you started one, I'm not knocking you because you didn't know why you was being used, because you didn't study the science, you chased the free money. But I studied the science in charter schools. And I knew the only reason why they started giving black people charter schools for black kids is to depopulate the public school so they can shut them down. Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Are there charter schools in Syracuse?
Yep.
Let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Dr. Umar Johnson meets with the superintendent of Syracuse. I meet with the young lady and I say, I would like to come here to open up 3 charter schools for African American boys. They say, fine. We're going to give you 3 charters. Each charter will be for 200 students. So you have a total of 3 schools, 600 black boys. Those black boys have to come from a pre-existing public school. So public school number 1 was built for 600 students. But Dr. Umar just took 200 away for his charters. Public school number 2 was built for 600 students. But Dr. Umar just took 200 away for his charter. Public school number 3 was built for 600 students. But Dr. Umar just took 200 away for his charter. So now the politicians are going to come in. And the gentrifiers who are trying to snatch Syracuse back from the black folk are going to come in. And they're going to say, if this school was built for 6 and it only has 4, why don't we divide that 4 up into the other remaining schools and shut that one down? We can sell that to one of the gentrifications. This is what they're doing all over the country. So they let Dr. Umar come to Syracuse so I can depopulate the public school so they can shut down and redistribute. They're using the charter schools to shut down public schools. And then guess what they're going to do 5 years later after they use me? They're going to come shut my ass down. I'm going to get a notice in the mail that says, Dr. Umar, your test scores are not high enough. If they don't go up by next September, we got to revoke your charter. So guess what happens next September? I get a letter saying the test scores went up, but not high enough. Now I know I prepared my children to pass that test. The problem is I'm not there when they score it. So I get a note saying my charter has been revoked. And guess what? The same black man who was used to shut down 3 charters now just got his school shut down. Look at it. They're doing it all over America. Record numbers of Afrocentric charter schools are being shut after they were used to shut down the public schools. That's why I have never, ever said I will open up a charter. I can go to any city and get a couple charters, but I'm not going to be used by the American social order to destroy my youth. The best school is independent school. I want my own. No one's going to come in and tell me what to do. If I don't want to teach Christopher Columbus, I won't. If I don't want to have homosexual studies, I won't. If I don't want to have special ed, I won't. That's the difference between independence and dependence. In the next 20 years, there will be no public school in this country. There will be charters and privates. And the only way they're going to get an education is if you can find a school that will take them and if you can afford to pay for it. Balls up. Balls up. And they waited until President Obama got selected before they pulled the school destruction stunt, because they knew you would be so busy worshiping him instead of holding him accountable. see all your Obama maniacs when he out. Because everything being done to black folk is being done under the illusion of inclusion. False belief that one man's political ascension equals your progress. How foolish are you? Have you not read the slave narratives? Didn't they always choose bougie, uppity, well-trained Negroes and use them as symbols for the rest of us? So why did Obama brainwash you? You should have knew what that was. He's over in Africa, trying to set up some more resource still. Your president. First president in American history whom black people did not ask anything of. Do you know that? Even in George Washington, back in Philadelphia, Richard Allen and Absalom Jones said you got to do something for our people. In slavery, here we go. First black people in American history to let somebody get away with doing nothing for them. What you think will happen when the next president gets in the White House? And he won't be black, you can guarantee that. He ain't gonna do anything for you. He ain't even gonna act like he wants to. Obama ain't do nothing for y'all, and he look just like you. I know you ain't coming to me with no requests. You think Chinese Americans will let a Chinese president go in office and not do something? You think Jewish Americans will let a Jewish president go in office and not do something? You think a Native American, East Indian, Italian, Anglo-Saxon people would let somebody of their own cultural background go into office and do nothing? And you say it was okay just because he was black. It's all right. And those babies over there will have to suffer for our political retardation. You don't ever give nobody a pass. You facing extinction. You are at war. Where the hell do you find time to give somebody a pass? He can cry tears for everybody else's children. Black kids are being shot down every day in his own Chicago, and he ain't cried a tear yet. But you can fly everywhere else and cry tears. And you got a nerve to go to Africa and tell the presidents in Africa that if they don't accept your sexual confusion culture, you're going to cut off the aid. That's what he's telling people. You got to let men marry men and women marry women, or we will cut off the aid. I love those black presidents in Africa say, who the hell are you to come and tell us how to live? We've been living for 2 million years. And now you want to come and pervert our culture. What y'all want to do in America is y'all business. Don't bring that filth over here. And that's what's going on right now between Obama and Uganda and Liberia and a few other countries who are resisting his attempt to make them accept sexual confusion. When we going to wake up? Some of y'all still debating sexual confusion. You fail to recognize that the whole sexual confusion movement is about population extermination. Reducing the numbers of black people. It ain't about no sex. It ain't about culture. It ain't about marriage rights. If every woman only lives with a woman and only man ever lives with a man, black folk, if everybody in this audience only cohabitated with somebody of the same gender, where does the next generation of black Syracuse come from? You don't get no more.
All right.
It's a form of extermination. I got an email from one brother, sexually confused brother. He said, Dr. Umar, I love your work, but isn't there a place for us somewhere in the struggle? Can I be a homosexual Pan-Africanist? I said, brother, the word nationalism has the same root as the word nature. To procreate, to regenerate, to proliferate. Your behavior stops life from being procreated. So how in the hell can you be a nationalist and engage in behavior that stops the nation from reproducing?
All right. That's good.
I don't hate them. Those are my brothers and my sisters. I love them all. I don't agree with their behavior, but I don't hate them. Because I know most of them came to that lifestyle through sexual molestation in their childhood. Because y'all don't pay attention to who you leave your kids with.
All right.
Most of the homosexual boys I've worked with and the girls who are sexually confused got that way through molestation before the age of 16. So I'm not going to condemn them. I'm going to re-Africanize them. Let's get into the questions. We want to invite you guys to come out to Rochester tomorrow. Rochester, the Frederick Douglass Resource Center, my ancestor. 36 King Street. Tomorrow night, we'll be there from about 3 until 8 or so. Brother Ross Simeon, Tassetti Studios, going to be debuting the psycho-ancestral breakdown of the master teachers. Documentary, y'all need to come on out. Y'all need to come on out. You're going to see some of the most brilliant statements ever made by people such as John G. Jackson, Khalid Abdul-Muhammad, Asa Hilliard, Dr. John Henry Clark, and the list goes on. Ivan Van Sertima, and then your brother, Dr. Umar, provides a current analysis of what that means now, tomorrow in Rochester. And then the next day, if you're interested, we're going to take a trip from Rochester up to Auburn to visit the Harriet Tubman Museum. Now, I'm going to be mad if anybody in this room living this close to Auburn ain't been to the Harriet Tubman house where the sister used to live at. This is probably the greatest revolutionary we've ever produced. By a show of hands, who has been to the Harriet Tubman house? About 50%. The rest of you need to get on your game. That's my #1 revolutionary, more than Douglas and Garvey. That woman right there. You need to go to that house. See the bed she slept in, the stove she used, the clothes she wore, and then go to her grave and pour some libations. We're going to leave from the Frederick Douglass Resource Center at 8 o'clock. The tour is going to be from 10 to noon. And then we'll be back in time for Friday night's event, July 5th. I've been asked to read my ancestors' speech. What to the Negro is the 4th of July? I'm going to read that at the Frederick Douglass Resource Center Friday, July 5th, 2013. But it was originally read by Frederick, July 5th, 1852. So this will be the 161st anniversary, I believe. Same city, same day. Come on out for that. I'm going to give you all my phone number and fax number before we're done here tonight. So if you ever need to reach me, you can. If you ever need to fax me some documents to look at for your child, you'll be able to do that. Of course, my website, drumarjohnson.com. You can always get me through there. But you can also get me by direct email, drumarjohnson@yahoo.com. Let's get into the questions. Of course, you're going to buy my book tonight if you don't have it. You're going to buy a copy for everybody in your family with kids. Because if you care about the kids, then they need a copy of my book. It is the only book ever written by a black male school psychologist, not an educator, but somebody who tests children. First one, only one written by a school psychologist who's a black male, dealing with the role of racism and financial exploitation in the special ed process and in the ADHD process. In my book, there's a chapter, especially for my mothers, on how to deal with disruptive behavior without medication. You do not need nobody's Ritalin, Adderall, Cycler, Vyvanse, Concerta to teach your son how to act. You don't need medication. Isn't it funny that they send black men to jail for selling drugs and then give derivatives of the same drugs that send their father to jail to their son so they can sit still long enough to be miseducated? You drinking that poison. Dr. Umar, I think my son really do got to learn this. You drinking that poison. I think he is conducting so. You drinking that poison. I think he need a little bit of Prozac. You drinking that damn poison. My father was a drill instructor for the United States Marine Corps, Paris Island, South Carolina. I don't like the Marines. Don't need to clap. But my question, my mother had 5 boys. 5 of us. I'm the oldest of the 5 boys. 11 kids total. Nobody ever caught ADHD. Not one of my brothers had conduct disorder. Not one of us had oppositional defiant. Nobody was emotionally disturbed. No disrupt. What was so genius about my father that he prevented us all from getting drugged up? Because it's called discipline. And that's all ADHD means, is ain't no discipline in the home disorder. You need no damn drugs. But Dr. Umar, can you evaluate my son? I think he might got ADHD. Well, if there's any labels being given out, the labels is going to the parent who messed the kid up, not the kid.
All right.
You know, drugs. 93% of America's public school teachers are white women. 93%. And ain't nobody once raised the issue of race and gender in the over-identification of African-American boys with learning disabilities and ADHD. It's being done at the hands of middle-class white women. Yes, I talk about race because America was built on race. You wouldn't be here had it not been for race. So I don't know what the hell a race card is. It ain't about a race card, it's about a race world. Do you know how you can cut out half of special ed, half of brain drugs, half of dropout, half of gangs, half of violence, half of discipline problems? Give every black boy a strong heterosexual black male teacher. You in all this nonsense. You shut the whole system down. But why ain't Cornel West talking about that? Why ain't Tavis bringing that up? Why ain't Henry Louis Gates? Why ain't Obama? Why ain't Jesse talking about that? That we can end this whole crisis of black boy education by giving them a black male for a teacher. Because then you're talking about laying off millions of white women from their jobs. So you'll never hear the true solution. People talking about solutions. I know what the solutions are, but you ain't allowed to put them out there because they racially based. That's why I got the unapologetically African t-shirt. So, because we got to go back to being unapologetically African like Marcus Garvey was. Unapologetically African like Dr. John Henry Clark. Well, once upon a time, we didn't make no excuses for being black. Now, I don't want to say it got anything to do with race or scared. No, I didn't say it was because he was white. No, I didn't say it because I was black. Well, you know it was. The people that made you afraid to be black. But it's okay for the Mexicans to be proud of being Mexican. It's okay for the Chinese to be proud of being Chinese. Hell, in Philadelphia, the Irish even changed the color of the Phillies hat from red to green. Everybody's unapologetically what they are, but you.
Yeah.
If you're afraid to be what God made you, then you ain't got a right to exist. We might as well just all go jump in the water together then. How the hell are you going to be ashamed of your nature, which is to be African? We got to go back to it. What should you do if the school requests permission to evaluate your child? This is the most important question of tonight. Because how you answer this question dictates whether or not they end up victims of the miseducation machine. What should you do? First thing you should do is stop and think about what the hell you're about to do. Until you sign your permission for that school psychologist, which is what I am, to go in and test your baby, you are in control of their education. Before you sign. Once you put your name on that paper, you have given permission for the school to determine how your child should be taught and where from that day forward. Do you know that the labels that we use cannot be proven to exist? Do you know that? Do you know there's no way I can prove if one of these babies got a learning disability? It is a professional opinion based on the test information. I say you're depressed. Am I right? I could. Depression is real, but I could also be wrong. All psychological diagnoses are professional opinions. That's it. But you take the professional opinion of a European and bring it home to your baby, and then you put a glass ceiling over how much he can learn based on the opinion of a community outside. Emotional disturbance is an opinion. Learning disabled, ain't no proof to that. Opinion. Do not sign permission for your child to be tested unless you believe absolutely in your heart that there's something wrong. If your child is deaf, they might need special ed. Your child is blind, they might need special ed. Your child got a brain injury, they might need special ed. Your child is in a wheelchair, they might need special ed. Your child got a speech and language impairment, they might need speech therapy. But if he got ADHD, what the hell is that? Ain't no daddy at home disorder, ladies? When did ADHD come into the DSM? 1980. When did they bring crack into the black community? 1980. When did they start mass incarcerating black men? 1980. This is all by design. ADHD, conduct disorder, ODD are part of the war against black males, young and old. Question number 2. What should I do if I think my child requires mentally gifted support? You write a letter to your child's principal saying, I would like my child to be evaluated. I think my son is mentally gifted. He's straight A's and B's on his report card. He's top 10 percentile in the state on testing. He's complaining that the work in the classroom is too easy. His teacher is complaining that she ain't got nothing to give my boy because he's so bright. My son is wasting his time in this public school, Syracuse public school. And the law says that you got to give him an education commensurate with his intellectual potential. My son got a 120 IQ. He's entitled to mentally gifted support. Y'all got to fight for this. They're not going to roll out the red carpet. Why? Because they took gifted out the special ed law years ago, which means they don't get extra money for putting your kids in the gifted program no more. Did y'all get what I just told you? Before, if I identify one of them as gifted, Syracuse gets extra money from the feds. No more. They took gifted out of the special ed reg. So now when I say he gifted, do anybody get paid? No. But when I say he learning disabled, they get paid. When I say he retarded, they get paid. When I say he autistic, they get paid. When I say he ain't got no daddy at home disorder, they get paid. Oh, bless your heart. How much money does the school district get when Dr. Umar put one of our babies in special ed? Twice, double order. How much money Syracuse public schools spend on their kids per year? About $7,000 per pupil. Yep. Once they go in special ed, they worth $14,000 per pupil. Did you hear that? The special ed kids are twice as much. This is a business of making money off the same kids you've been miseducated for 4 years. It's an extermination. Question number 3. If my child is between the ages of 3 and 5, and I see a speech problem, I see some autistic stuff with my boy, he ain't talking yet and he's 4 years old. Special ed starts at the age of 3 and goes to the age of 21. If your preschool baby is showing evidence of a delay, get them tested by the school district and get them the help in preschool. Now you say, well, wait a minute, Dr. Umar, you said you don't like special ed. I don't. But if he gets the help in preschool, it may close the gap if you give him the help early enough, so when kindergarten starts, he won't need it no more. But you know what we do in the hood? We try to act like we don't see problems in Little John. You know you was smoking when you was carrying Renee, and she ain't talking yet. And you don't want to deal with the guilt that you're the reason she got that damn delay. So you just want to act like she want to outgrow it. Is kindergarten mandatory in the state of New York? It's optional. In Pennsylvania, it's also optional. But can you give me a damn good reason why your 5 or 6-year-old ain't in kindergarten? Are you doing something better with them at home? Or are they playing video games and watching Don't Stop Get It on BET, Black Extermination Television? The kid come to kindergarten, they can sing all the songs and do all the dances. Get it, girl, get it, girl, get it, girl. Write your name. Ah! Your child should come to kindergarten knowing their first and last name, being able to spell it, all their numbers, all their colors, all their sizes, all their shapes, phone number and address, or you are mad. Let me go to the other side. Dr. Umar got to you late. Your child is already in special ed. He's supposed to graduate next year. But the school has done nothing but push him on. Only reason why they put him in special ed is because the teacher felt he couldn't sit still long enough. Dr. Umar, I don't think my son's ready to graduate. He can barely read and they're going to give him a diploma. What should I do? Special education goes from 3 to 21. If your son is about to graduate 12th grade and he ain't ready, don't let him. Give the diploma back to the principal and say, my son ain't ready to exit. Y'all have an obligation to teach him until he's functional by graduation or age 21. Now you say, my son not going to go back to school after all his friends graduate. He's going to be embarrassed. He ain't got to. They're going to send a tutor out to the house. And they're going to tutor your son in your living room, at the kitchen table, for 2 or 3 times a week to make sure he's functional by age 21. It ain't over until it's over. You don't let your son graduate from high school knowing damn well he ain't ready for the world, because he's going to be in jail. If a black boy can't read by the time he finishes the 5th grade, there's a 75% chance he'll be an inmate by 35. Do you know, in America right now, the black population in every single state of the 50 is 3 times as high in the jail than it is in the state. And you say this ain't by design. Every last state in America, 50 of them, in no state are you less than 3 times your population in jail than you are on the street. And you say there's no design to this. Right now, what is every state doing in America, most of them? They building more prisons while they shut down public schools, claiming that they ain't got enough money for the school when the prison costs 10 times as much as the school do. Have you been to some of these prisons? I speak in them. They are in better shape than the schools, brothers and sisters. Some of these prisons are like mansions in the inside. You mean to tell me that somebody who committed a crime lives better than a child receiving an education? Because that's the future of the black man in America. Incarceration. The prison is the new slave ship. It's just not on water. It's docked on land permanent. And what are they doing to fill up them prisons? They got a mandatory graduation test. Y'all got that in New York State? You got to pass the test to get your diploma? Oh yeah, we just got it in Pennsylvania. And what is the state doing as a result of it? They're building 4 new maximum security prisons right now. You know why? Because if your son don't pass the test, he don't get a diploma. He don't get a diploma, he gonna have to commit crime to make a living. This is by design. The whole testing movement was designed to mass incarcerate. That's why they did it. Listen to me clearly, brothers and sisters. Testing is a sham. They test your kids every month. Midterms, final, state test, spring test, basic skills test, national standardized test, IQ test, achievement test, ADHD test. Why? The whole purpose of testing is to do what? Have an excuse for why you don't give black children the opportunities you give to the white ones. That's the whole purpose of testing. You say you don't believe me? What were the first tests used for in American society? For war, the army. They gave the alpha and beta test to decide who fights in the front line with a gun, expendable soldier, versus who can stay back and file the papers. Testing was always about exclusion from opportunity. Can I ask you a question? What is the relationship between your LSAT score and your ability to finish law school? What's the relationship between your MCAT score and your ability to finish med school? What's the relationship between Dr. Umar's graduate record exam score and my ability to get my doctorate? What's his relationship between his SAT score and his ability to finish college? Do you know it's almost zero correlation? There's no relationship between the test score and future performance. So why the hell are you giving the test? To justify why there's only 2 blacks in Syracuse grad school. To justify why there's only 2 blacks at University of Pennsylvania Med School. To justify why only 2 blacks are getting a law degree at Princeton. Are y'all following this? You can't let that boy outscore the whites. Because how do you justify the oppression? So you design the test in such a way that they don't. Let me make it even more simple for you. Hypothetically, let's say all the kids in Syracuse take a test in September. All the black kids get a perfect score on the test. Every black kid in Syracuse scores proficient. And let's say the white kids only scored average. What do you think happens to that test? It goes in the damn trash can. They don't want no test that's going to show black kids are doing better than whites. Are you out of your mind? This is America. Nothing is left to chance. Hell, LeBron James versus Tim Duncan wasn't even left to chance. Everything is scripted. That test would go in the trash. You can't have all the black kids doing better than the white kids, because do you know what that means? That means most of the black kids will get accepted to Syracuse next year. Gotta be black. That means most of the kids are going to end up in graduate school in a couple years. Gotta be black, because they outperform the whites. We can't have that. And the test makers know it. So they deliberately create tests where the black kids do poorly and the white kids do well. This is a hustle. And we're looking at our kids for why they 15 points lower than the whites and 15 points lower than the Asians. By design. Listen to me now. On the IQ test, there's 4 indexes. Verbal scale, nonverbal scale, processing speed, working memory. Let's do it again. Working memory, how well you can hold information in your mind and execute with it. Processing speed, how fast you can solve a problem. Nonverbal reasoning, how well you can solve puzzles and blocks and all types of abstract integration tools, right? And the last one is what? Verbal. 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 Verbal comprehension. Do you know what that is? That ain't even intelligence. That's how well they can use the words white people use. The verbal scale of the IQ test measures vocabulary. What that got to do with how smart you are? Nothing! So why do they still have it on the IQ test? Because it keeps the discrepancy. The reason why we have more white doctors than black doctors in America is because the white IQ score is 15 points higher than the black. The reason the Asians have all the businesses and the black people don't, because the Asians are 15 points smarter than the black kids. They will never take out that biased verbal scale, which does not measure how smart you are. It only measures how much access you had to middle-class white culture. They'll never take it out. You know why? Because the slope that looks like this, you take out the verbal scale, it might invert itself. Now you got the black kids outperforming the whites and the Asians. American society will freeze if that ever happens. Stop putting your faith in the tests that they use. For crying out loud, Adolf Hitler gave the Jews that he exterminated in Europe IQ tests. The IQ test is part of the justification for the extermination of European Jews and a population of 50,000 Africans who were also living in Germany at the time of the Holocaust. Which is quite interesting because I ain't been to a Holocaust museum yet that pays homage to the blacks who died in the internment camps with the Jews. In fact, it was blacks who liberated the Jews from their most intense internment camps of World War II. They called those black soldiers the liberators. Had it not been for them, millions more would have burned. But where's the poster for them? Where's the memorial for them in the Holocaust museums? So even in your suffering, you still a damn racist. Dr. John Henry Clark said that all people have an essential selfishness of survival. They keep things to themselves to make sure their children have something. The white man don't tell you how he make his money because if you learned it, you might use it for the benefit of your children, which might cut his out. That's not racism, that's self-love. The Chinaman ain't going to tell you how he does what he does because you might use it for the benefit of your people, and that might destroy his people's ability. So he doesn't. That's called self-love. Your problem is you like to share everything with everybody else. You shared hip-hop, you shared R&B, you share everything. You invented the damn cell phone and gave it to white folks that make trillions of dollars off of it. You discovered the internet and gave it to white folks to make trillions of dollars off of it. You invented the helicopter and gave it to white folks to make trillions of dollars off of it. You invented the refrigerated truck and gave it to white folks to make trillions of dollars off of it. You invented the self-lubricating engine, making it possible for you to have automobiles. And you gave it to white folks so they can make millions of dollars off of it. Your problem is you love everybody else as much as you love yourself. That's a problem. Don't nobody eat before my race eats. Don't nobody get paid before my race gets paid. But we got this thing that we're taught in the church and in the mosque, and I was raised in both of them where God don't see no damn color. If your God can't see color, he can't see you either. Stop looking for permission from the Bible to fight your war. Can principals and teachers expel students? No, they cannot. Only people with the power to expel a student in the public or charter school is the local school board. If I'm the principal at your child's elementary school and I come call you up and say, come get him, I'm going to kick him out. Can't do it. I might say it, but I can't do it. All I can do is recommend downtown that at the next Syracuse local public school board meeting that Umar Johnson be recommended for expulsion. I cannot expel. Not in the United States of America. The local school board is the only entity in the local public school with the authority to hire or fire anybody, teachers or students. I can't even fire my teachers if I'm a principal. And I am a former school administrator, by the way, so I know what I'm talking about. You cannot fire teachers. All you can do is recommend that they get fired. Y'all need to know that. Because charter schools are telling y'all, if your son don't stop, I'm going to kick him out. Charter school can kick your kid out, not the principal. He can recommend to the charter school board of directors that your child has a hearing where they're going to bring him up with charges for expulsion, and you have a right to defend your child, and then after the hearing they take a vote and decide whether or not your child can stay or not, but the principal can't kick him out. Stop letting people lie to you. Stop letting people lie to you. Let's talk about Title I money. Syracuse is a Title I district. That means you get extra money from President Obama to teach the poor black kids how to read and count. Anybody in here know what Syracuse is doing with their Title I money? None of you know. Have you asked? Have you even found out how much millions Syracuse is getting for Title I? Can you explain to me why so many of your black kids are being sent to special ed where most of them could be helped with Title I tutoring? So you mean to tell me you get millions to help them in reading and math, but you don't use it for that? But you want me to put them in special ed so you can get extra on top of the extra you already got. It's a hustle. And then they say, well, we want the school day to be longer because they're not learning. So instead of getting out of school at 3 o'clock, we want them to stay in school at 5 o'clock. Can I ask you a question? If your child's teacher couldn't teach them from 8 to 3, what the hell is she going to do from 3 to 5? I got to wake up. The whole 3 to 5 is designed to do what? Give the white teachers of Syracuse more money in their paychecks. This is why the superintendent hasn't invited me to train the teachers yet. Because I tell the teachers the truth. Well, what do you think we should do if he's too hyper? Learn effective classroom management skill. Is there recess in the school? How long is recess? Oh, they get to run around for 10 minutes. Excuse me? So for 7 hours, 6 hours, they only get 10 minutes. And you wonder why they can't sit the hell still. You can't even sit still. Is there a gym class? Oh, we had to cut that. Physical ed was cut because of the budget. So you mean to tell me he ain't got no play time, no run around time, no physical exercise time? You got a nerve to tell me you think he got a disability? That is normal black boy behavior. If you gave him a black belt teacher, we wouldn't even be having this problem. When do we wake up? Y'all need to start an independent Black Syracuse Parents Association. They need to start going to the school board meetings en masse, all of y'all together. We need a copy of the Title I budget. Who told you about that? We need a copy of the special ed budget. Oh my God. And they damn sure don't want to show you special ed budget. Let me break special ed down, excuse me. Syracuse spends $7,000 a student. Special ed kids get 14, right? Now, let's say it's about 50 of you here. I put all y'all in special ed, unjustifiably. That's an extra 7,000 times 50 people. What's that? Is that $350,000 extra? Just for y'all in this classroom. This is only one class. How about how many schools in Syracuse? 30, 40, 50? Do you know how much money this district is making off special educated black kids? No, let me say it another way. You know how many white folks are paying their mortgage off your kid being in special ed? When do you wake up and smell coffee? Every public school in America has a blacklist, and you should be on it. What is a blacklist? It is a list that all strong black parents are on. There's only about 10 of y'all on the whole damn list. And these are the parents that they know don't mess with them. Don't suspend their kids. Don't send them no special ed requests. None of that. Because they don't play. They will be in this school turning it out if you even think about expelling their baby. Right. My question to everybody in here, are you on the blacklist? Because if you're not, you're doing something wrong. The best way for your child to get a decent education at public expense is to make sure you're on the blacklist, which means what, people? You have to stop trying to be a friend to the teachers before you're sure the teachers are a friend to your child. I'm not smiling at no teacher until I know you give a damn. My child's future swings in a balance of your level of commitment. And stop letting people make you think the problem is that there ain't enough money being spent. That's bull crap. Syracuse ain't got a budget problem. They got a spending priorities problem. The money is being spent on other than what it should be. I noticed the athletic program ain't took no hits. Where they get their money from? Or is it being borrowed from the special ed pot? So you take the money from the special ed kids and give it to the football team so they can get new uniforms. Oh yes, public education is a corrupt business. And y'all need to get involved in it. Better yet, I'm gonna go a step deeper. Y'all need to organize y'all money. Organize y'all money. So when they start shutting down the public schools, how much y'all want for that? 800 grand? Here you go. How much y'all want for that school over there? $1.5 million? There you go. I was in Chicago. Where was I at before Chicago? Alabama. I was the Juneteenth speaker. Somebody got mad at me because I said, I'm not fighting against the shutting down the public schools. Black man said, Dr. Umar, I don't understand. What do you mean? You're eliminating. I said, excuse me, sir. You have to make up your mind. Either the schools don't work or they do. But you can't tell me public school not working, but you're fighting for white women to keep their jobs. Which side is it? It can't be both. The problem ain't that the schools are shutting down Syracuse. The problem is you ain't got your money in order to buy them when they do. And turn them into the schools our children need. Are y'all following me now? The problem ain't they shut down. If we had 2 million locked up in a vault, this would be a blessing. That's going to be our elementary school. That's going to be our middle school. That's going to be our high school. We're going to turn this school into the dorms because it's going to be residential. We got our parent education center over there. It will be a blessing. Tomorrow, 4th of July. Many of you going to be out there shaking your booty to music and food. Celebrating your slave master's freedom from his slave master. If that ain't a loyal ass slave, I don't know what is. I'm not free, but I'm going to celebrate your freedom. From England, but I'm still your slave. July 4th, 1776, my great grandmother, Betsy Bailey, who raised Frederick and Stephen, my direct ancestor, was 2. She was born in 1774. She was 2 years old on July 4th, 1776. Do you think she was celebrating anything? Do you think your ancestors were celebrating anything? You ain't even get nothing even remotely considered to be freedom until December of 1865, when the 13th Amendment was ratified by Congress. Not no Emancipation Proclamation. That ain't free a damn soul. So you mean to tell me you was a slave for almost 100 years longer? You was a slave for almost 100 years longer. You got the audacity to be out here with a red, white, and blue flag wrapped around your damn neck and head. Some of you sisters got skirts made out of the damn slave flag. Some of y'all got a tattoo on your body. I love my master. If you just save some of your 4th of July money, you can probably provide an after-school job for every one of our teenagers in Syracuse who looking for work now that school is out and can't find them, so they're going to be on the corner selling that stuff, waiting for the cops to get them. How much of this is your fault, black people?
A lot.
You can blame the American social order for creating your problems. You cannot blame the American social order for how you choose to do it. Al Sharpton has sold his soul to Obama. First of all, you never trust a man with a perm. That's the first one. Have you listened to this man's radio show? The whole show is defending Obama's actions to black people. They might as well change the name of the show to Attorney Al Sharpton for Obama Show. I heard this Negro say the other day that we don't need a black agenda. What is a black agenda for? Excuse me? Last time I checked, you made your whole career on talking about we needed a black agenda, you damn sellout. Now all of a sudden Obama fleecing your pockets. We don't need a black agenda no more. You stabbed Attorney Alton Maddox in the back during the Tawana Brawley trial. My good friend Attorney Maddox down in Brooklyn. Do you know that the Tawana Brawley case ain't done yet, brothers and sisters? Do you know that her mother is not allowed in New York? Or are you aware that Tawana Brawley has been forced to pay restitution and damages to the cops? What's going on right now? Talk to me about no damn Al Sharpton. He sold him out. He's the HNIC in New York. Woo. Every big city in America got a Negro in charge that answers to the governor. The black governor is what I call him. He's the black governor of New York City. Who's the black governor of Syracuse? Is it one of your politicians? Is it one of your mega church ministers? Is it one of your black business people? Is it one of your scholars? I know you got one. Because every city in America got a black bourgeoisie that controls the Negro population. You got 5 families in the black bourgeoisie. 5 families in black bourgeois Syracuse. You got the academic bourgeois. These are the Negroes who work for y'all colleges. University of Syracuse and the community college and whatever other college y'all got. These are the Negroes who do what? Explain away white supremacy by blaming you for your economic problem. Blaming you for why your kids ain't learning. Blaming you for why you ain't got no job. Their job is to do what? Protect the massa from the masses. And then you got who? Blacks in entertainment. Y'all got some black radio shows, newspapers. Y'all got some public access TV shows. Do they ever talk about the important stuff? No, we want to talk about Beyonce and Jay-Z's new baby. Let's talk about Kanye West and Kim Kardashian's new baby. We want to talk about Steve Harvey's new show, Price is Right. They talk about everything but the right thing. Because their job is not supposed to educate you politically. So they dumb you down with entertainment and hip-hop music. What's the third family? Status Negroes in Syracuse. These are the ones with titles. I'm the chief of police. I'm second in command of the fire department. I run the school board. I'm the vice president for this. I'm the ward leader. I'm the state rep. I'm the U.S. congressman. You ain't I know y'all got them because every city got them. Tell me I'm wrong. And we ain't even done that. Then you got the Negroes who got a couple dollars in their pocket. They might own a couple businesses, might have inherited some old money. They might not be millionaires, but they close. They can't get a damn, you can't get a damn dime from them. You say, we got an after-school program for the youth. Can we get a $5,000 donation? Oh, hell. But when Obama needed a donation for his campaign, he gets twice as much. When the Boys and Girls Club need money, they get it. When the Urban League need money, they get it. When the NAACP need money, they get it. But you can't get it. Because their job is to use their money to the benefit of everybody but their own people. And what's the last thing? The church. They the most dangerous one in Syracuse. You know why? Because they get more money than any other business in the damn city. Every Sunday, they're putting hundreds of thousands in those church buckets. And what do you get for it? Nothing! You come to church looking for change. Pastor, police shot one of our boys last week. We got to do something. Pastor, that school over there is expelling black boys. We got to do something about it. Pastor, there's a new factory in Syracuse and ain't hired enough black folk, Pastor. And what does he do? He sits you down and give you some of that Novocaine. And then he bring the choir out and sing a few songs. And then y'all do communion. And before you know it, you done walked into the bullshit. What does the pastor teach? Don't worry about this problem. God is in charge. All you got to do is pray a little harder and tithe a little more. And the problems will go away. See, I'm not worried because God put these problems here. Police brutality was put in Syracuse to lead you back to the Lord. Miseducation was put there to drive you to church. So you wouldn't have came here if they didn't put your son in special ed. So I'm thankful for special ed because I brought you back to the Lord's path. You start saying, damn, maybe you're right. This is what he do. And you know what's so sad? We always talk about how the foreign immigrants are robbing us with the stop and goes and the corner stores. How about the black church get more money than the Chinese store and the stop and go put together? Who's the real economic bloodsucker of the black community? Is it the Asian, the Arab, or the damn Negro clergyman? I'm not done. Our grandmother's been going to church for all their life, right? Grandma retired from the school district 20 years ago, right? Grandma on a fixed mortgage, right? She owned her own, she paid the taxes. But there's a problem. Her Jesus money is about to make her homeless. What do you mean my grandma's Jesus money is about to make her homeless? Your grandma go to the church. She put money in the bank. The pastor takes your money and he don't take it to no black bank. He take it to a white bank. And he put all your Jesus money in a racist ass white bank account. And guess what the white bank does? When the developers come into Syracuse and they decide that they want to buy off a whole city block and turn it into a modern Syracuse, they're going to raise the property value on grandmama's house. And so now grandmama got to pay more tax, but grandma can't afford it, so she forced to sell, and she don't even realize, grandma, it was your Jesus money that put you at your own damn house. If I'm wrong, tell me. It's happening all across America. The white banks, keepers of black church money, are using the church money to float loans to white developers to come in and gentrify Syracuse and push the people out whose money was used to finance the loan. I don't believe in no damn religion. Had to argue with one of my Sunni Muslim brothers in Atlanta last week because he wanted to talk about how great Gaddafi was. I said, well, I respect Umar Gaddafi. In Hidden Colors, I talked about the good work that he was doing and helping to build a Central African bank and float a telecommunication satellite. That was revolutionary work. But Omar Gaddafi was the longest living dictator. He'd been in power for more than 50 years. Why haven't you done a damn thing for Africa in 50 years? Prior to that. Because you, just like the European, wanted to keep Africa in a dead state so you could control and exploit. So don't come to me with no Arab loving Africa story, because I ain't with it. He was an Arab. And if you don't know the history of the Arab invasion in Africa, I suggest you study it. They didn't come in with no Qurans making no damn salat. They cut off fingers, toes, breasts, and everything else. You still think you can make people love you? You want to integrate with other people, but you don't want to integrate with each other. What's the first thing a Negro does when he get a doctorate or a master? He moves the hell away from his people.
Yes.
Talking about you want integration, and we ain't even integrated with each other. Go to any city, you got the African immigrants living over here, Caribbean immigrants living over here, bougie Negroes over here, ghetto Negroes over here. We believe in segregation. We're the most segregated people in this country. Talking about immigration. How many of you know whether or not your child's teacher is highly qualified? A highly qualified teacher, according to No Child Left Behind, is a teacher with a degree, a teacher who has passed an education test, which means they got a certification, and a teacher who has demonstrated their ability to teach well. How many teachers in Syracuse are not highly qualified? And your question to me is, what does that matter? I'm going to tell you why. Because teaching jobs in a predominantly black public school district is an economic stimulus package to unemployed white folks who got laid off other places. Did y'all hear me? And you also need to know, because what? I got laid off from my job. I got emergency cert to teach in Syracuse school. I'm recommending your son for special ed for reading disability. Can I ask you a question? If I was never taught how to teach reading, who the hell am I to suggest that your son got a reading disability because I can't teach it and I need to go to college for education? Have y'all kids being sent to special ed by teachers who belong in special ed. Why you laughing? I think we got a visitor in the house. He said, oh my God. It's okay, son. It's all truth, though, I can assure you. Sometimes the truth is hard to hear, especially when you're used to hearing it. So we welcome you, and I'm glad you're here. Maybe you'll take some of this back to people in your community and motivate them to do something a little bit different, like hire some black male teachers. Everybody. He said, oh my God, shit. Learning disability. What is a learning disability? Failure on part of a child with normal intelligence to learn a scholastic skill. Failure on part of a child with normal intelligence to learn a scholastic skill. Failure on part of a child with normal intelligence to learn a scholastic skill. If your child has normal intelligence, how can it be possible that he can't learn how to read? How can it be possible she can't learn how to count? Is it the child with a learning disability, or is it Syracuse public schools with an instructional disability and a teacher with an educational disability? Why are we blaming the kids for the failures of the damn district? Can somebody tell me, please? Why is Raheem getting the blame? That's why I can't wait till I have my school. I'm going to get rid of all the learning disabilities in 1 week. Let me tell you how. First of all, don't come to my school with no paperwork. I don't want none of your white supremacist paperwork. Keep the psychological eval, keep the IEP, and keep your pills at home. I don't need none of them. But let me tell you how I'm going to get rid of the learning disability. Your 6th grade son going to come to my school reading on the 3rd grade level because you let somebody say he had a learning disability. I'm going to get rid of it in 1 week. Guess what? Raheem, You need more help because you're only reading on the 3rd grade and you're in the 6th. So Dr. Umar and the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy, they're going to help you. Until you get up to 6th grade reading level, you will also have school on Saturday. How much you want to bet? How much you want to bet that Raheem will not have a learning disability in the next week? See, y'all play these damn games. I ain't playing these games. Don't bring me no white man label for my children. I'm gonna get rid of all that. Oh, ADHD. We're going to the national championship, NCAA. We're going to watch Syracuse play Duke for the national championship. All expense paid. Only problem is you can't exhibit no ADHD for the whole school year, or you can't go. Raheem will be perfect. Because your kids can control their behavior. The reason they don't is because you keep giving them excuses not to. I can't wait till the gates open at my school. We're going to do PP to the hood. We're going to be running through the hood. The red, black, and the green flag. Everywhere we go, everywhere we go. White people want to know. White people want to know who we are, who we are. So we tell them. We are the garbage, we are the God, mighty, mighty garbage. We ain't playing. As we come to the conclusion, this whole presentation is like 3 hours long. We won't finish it this time, maybe the next time. But I want to show you how we decide whether or not your children are going to special education. And I want y'all to pay close attention. Because once you understand this, you'll never get them tested ever again by somebody in the schools. You see 2 concepts up there. Response to intervention and ability achievement discrepancy. Special ed was started when? 1975. I was born in 1974. I'll be 39 August the 21st. So special ed is 38. For 38 years, in order for me to determine if a child had a learning disability, you know what we looked at? Ability, IQ score, achievement, reading or math or writing score, and the difference, discrepancy between the 2. Now to keep this simple, we're going to define discrepancy as anything greater than 15 points. Anything greater than 15 points. Stay with me. What grade you in, son? Yes. He's in the 8th grade. I give him an IQ test. He has a 100 IQ score. 50 percentile, average, brain is fine. IQ score is a 100. But the teacher thinks he got a reading disability, so I give him a reading test. He gets an 80. What is an 80 in academic terms? What letter grade? A B minus. Is there anybody in here who would think their child is learning disabled with a B minus? Nobody, right? But guess what? According to the psychometrics of special education, because his IQ score is 20 points higher than his reading, significant discrepancy on average is what? 15 or greater. His IQ is a 100, his reading is a 80, that's a 20-point difference. He got a B minus in reading, but congratulations, son, you go to special education. That's right. Kids are going to special ed who their academic skills ain't even deficient, but just because of a 15-point or greater difference between IQ and achievement. They're not even low, dog. Numbers that lie. Stop getting your kids tested because it does not help. A special education student is nothing more than the economic stimulus package to school districts. Can your child pray in school? Actually, they can. Yep. Can anybody in the school be involved in prayer or leading? No. But if all the Muslim kids decide they want to get together, hold hands, and say a prayer over their lunch, can't nobody stop them. If all the Jehovah's Witnesses decide when they go outside for recess, they're going to pull out the watchtower and read and talk about the watchtower on their corner, can't nobody stop them. The law says as long as you do not disrupt the educational process. It's not illegal. But the school cannot be involved in it. That's why you don't have gospel choirs in public schools. You have a gospel choir at a private Christian school. You can't have one at a public church. We had a school in Philly, they had a gospel choir. That thing got shut down with the quickness because of the separation of church and state. Can the teacher use the Bible or the Quran in class to teach? Sure. If it's serving an educational function. But if she's bringing the Bible and the Quran in class to baptize people and give out shahadas, class will get fired. But if I'm the English teacher and I'm using the Bible because I want to show our students how the Bible uses allegory and symbolism, I can do it. I want to show how the Quran uses symbolism and allegory and metaphor, I can do it because it's serving the educational function. Now, let's be honest. The average superintendent is going to tell the teachers what? Don't ever come because we don't even want to take the risks. This is what I need y'all to tell y'all kids when y'all go home tonight. I'm telling you right now, but I know you don't get in trouble, so it don't even matter. Tell your kids that if they ever call to the school office for any reason, that could get them in trouble, tell them to tell the principal or dean of students, teacher, vice principal, whoever, disciplinarian, I do not feel comfortable answering these questions without my mother or father being present. Tell them now. Too many of our children are leaving school in handcuffs because they being brought to the school office and they being questioned about stuff they didn't even know could send them to jail. Tell them to keep their damn mouth shut. They talk too much. Tell them you ain't answering no questions without your mother or father being present. And if they keep on badgering them, this ain't gonna get you in trouble. Just answer, I said, I would like to talk to my mother and father. Can you call them, please? Because I don't feel comfortable right now. And then you get on the phone. And then that's when you come over. I'll be there at the end of the school day. Don't ask my son no more questions. If he can't go back to class, he can't go back to class. But I said, don't ask my son no more questions. And you might even get slick and show up with a lawyer at the end of the school day. That case is over. They don't want that because you on a damn blacklist. I'm sorry, if you was on a blacklist, you would have never even got caught. Too many of our kids are being arrested, y'all. School police. They put street cops in the schools. Do y'all got street cops in y'all schools?
Yes.
And you know why that's a big problem? Because the cops are taking jurisdiction away from the principals. Let me give you an example. I'm the principal of the school, right? These two get into a fight. But I'm in charge. They're going to get a 2-day suspension, walk it off, come back to school, life goes on. But he a cop. So guess what? He want to tell me, excuse me, I got this. This is violence in the community. No, excuse me, officer. These are my kids. I know them. Officer, excuse me, I am the law. He arrests them, takes them downtown. They get booked in Judy Hall for something that should have only been a 2-day suspension. Get them damn street cops out of school. I'm going to end on this one, and then I'm going to take some questions. Even if your child is diagnosed with ADHD, they do not have to go to special ed. Even if your child is diagnosed with a conduct disorder, they do not have to go to special ed. Even if your child is diagnosed with oppositional defiant disorder, they ain't got to go to special ed. Hey, Brother Lawrence, where that Jamaican food at? I'm not playing with you. With my platter, dog. Listen to me. This is what you tell the school. First of all, you should have never told him he was diagnosed with ADHD in the first place. That's where you messed up. Stop telling the school your personal business. If your son was tested at the community hospital and misdiagnosed with ain't no daddy home disorder, why you tell the school that? Because all they're going to do is use it to special educators so they can get that check. But let's say you done already made that mistake. You write a letter to the school tomorrow. I do not feel my son needs special education. He needs a 504 accommodation plan. 504 accommodation plan. 504 is just a plan, just like the IEP, and it's not special ed. It's accommodations. In other words, what, y'all? We do not modify learning at all. He's in 8th grade, hypothetically. He's in 8th grade. They both 8th grade. He got an IEP. He got a 504. His IEP means what? We got to dumb down his learning. We got to dumb down his learning. By the time he graduates, he probably won't be reading on grade level. He got a 504. Do we dumb down his learning? No. He get the same instruction as everybody else, but it's a what? Accommodation plan. Do you know what that means? That means he get extra time to take his tests. That means he get regular breaks from the class. That means he might be with the school counselor. That means he gets a behavior plan. That means he takes his tests in a different room. We do not reduce his educational expectancy. We just give him accommodations to be successful. Do y'all understand me? Stop putting your ADHD kids in special ed. Now, why doesn't the school tell y'all about special education? Why they don't like to tell y'all that? Because they don't get extra money for 504. They get extra money for special ed. He in special ed, I get that 7,000 extra. He got a 504. I got to give him accommodations, and I don't get no money for it. I don't really want to tell parents about that. That's why you need my book. Because all this is in the book. Read it cover to cover. And mothers, I need y'all to do me a favor. I need you to stop objectifying your son as the man of the house when you ain't got a man in the house. And why am I saying that? Because too many mothers, and y'all doing the best job y'all can, I'm not knocking y'all, because these brothers in Syracuse should be helping y'all with them damn boys. And most of them don't unless they get a little cookie for their nookie. But what happens is the mothers take the oldest boy psychologically without even knowing that she objectified him into husband status. Not sexually, psychosocially. And because now he's my mate, my partner, I can't discipline him no more because we on the same level in the house now. So he's absolved of responsibility, he's absolved of chores, he's absolved of going to school, he's absolved of consequences. And some of y'all women know what I'm talking about because y'all grew up in homes where your mother turned your brother into a little wuss. But turned you into a hard-working, strong black woman, right? Said, my mother did good with me, but my brother, he ain't nothing like me. Because she objectifies him as a husband. In other words, she became dependent on him for masculine energy because she didn't have none coming from no other source. And she was afraid to punish her brother because he might get mad and withhold his attention. So now the son punishing the mother by not giving her no attention. Happens all across America in black communities. Mothers, he is your son, he is not your husband. In conclusion, I want to say this. We in bad shape as a people. And if we don't get our act together soon, I don't know how much longer we're going to be around. I travel the world 4 or 5 times a year. I've been to Bermuda and Jamaica. I've been to Canada and St. Croix. London and Liberia and South Africa and Ethiopia and Malawi and Senegal and Nigeria. And wherever I go, I see the same Negro shit. I see foreigners running the economy everywhere I go. In Jamaica, it's the East Indians. In Liberia, it's the Arabs. No matter Canada, Europeans. No matter where I go on the planet, we are backwards. It is only one solution. We got the man up and the woman up and become unapologetically African. Stand for the black. Marcus Garvey said. He said, in a world full of wolves, one should go armed. And the most powerful weapon in the reach of African people, he said, was to practice race first. Marcus Garvey said if we would only practice race first, we could fix our situation. He said the Jew is a Jew before he's anything else. The Italian is an Italian before he's anything. The Chinese man, some might be Muslim, some might be Christian, some might be Buddhist, but they all Chinese. And when it comes to dealing with issues affecting Chinese people, religion don't get in the way. When I'm in New York City, there's different pockets of European Jews in New York. But when it comes to the progress of Jews mutually, they don't fight over their religious differences. Nobody got that hang up but the Jews. Because you were psychologically engineered by your slave master to self-destruct. You can take the slave out of slavery all you want, but until the slave takes the slavery out of him and herself, you'll never be free. See, there's two types of freedom in the world. Freedom, F-R-E-E-D-O-M. That's what white folks got. Free to do whatever the hell they want within the limits of the law. They ain't got to worry about police brutality. They ain't got to worry about black privilege, because it ain't no black privilege. They ain't got to worry about their kids being shot by cops. None of that stuff. He ain't got to worry about none of that. But then you got freedom. F-R-E-E-D-U-M-B. That's what we got. You ain't free to organize. You ain't free to fix your problem. But you free to buy hair. You free to date white women. You're free to buy expensive cars. You're free to spend your money on big screen TVs. You're free to do anything but something constructive. Don't confuse freedom with freedom. They are totally different. Freeborn people and emancipated people have two different mindsets. My ancestor Frederick Douglass said, if there is no struggle, there is no progress. Those who profess to favor freedom but deprecate agitation are like men who want crops without plowing up the ground. They want rain but can't stand thunder or lightning. They want ocean but can't stand the awful roar of the water. He said this struggle we as Africans have might be moral, or it might be physical, or it might be both moral and physical, but it must be a struggle. He said, find out what any people treatment they would quietly accept, and you have just found the exact measure of injustice that they will receive. He said the limits of tyrants are prescribed by the people who they oppress. We choose how poorly our enemies treat us, not them. He said, for 20 years, I prayed on my knees to God to free me from slavery. I prayed and I prayed and I prayed for 20 years. But he said, the Lord gave me no freedom until I got up off my knees and began praying with my feet. He said, if you want respect, stop looking for pity. Because the man who respects you doesn't have a need for pity, and the man who pities you could never respect you. He said, if a man is laying on his face on the street, it might be better to leave him there until he's man enough to stand on his own. Because if you pick him up and he ain't ready to stand as a man, as soon as you let him go, he falls right back down. So you didn't help, you hurt. My family came to America in 1701. Black man by the name of Bailey, stolen from the Igbo nation of Nigeria. He married a black woman by the name of Selah. In 1745, they had a daughter by the name of Jenny. In 1774, they had a daughter by the name of Betsy Bailey, the grand matriarch of my family. She married a free black man by the name of Isaac. They had approximately 13 children. One of their daughters was named Harriet, and her little sister was named Young Betsy after their mother. Harriet was raped by Aaron Anthony, the white man who owned our family. And in February of 1818, she gave birth to the greatest black leader of the 19th century, Frederick Augustus Washington Bailey. The next year, her younger sister, young Betsy, gave birth to Frederick's cousin and brother, Stephen Henry Bailey, my great-great-great-great-grandfather. Frederick and Stephen were brothers because the slave master was their damn dad. But they were cousins because their mothers were sisters. And when you study your ancestry, you're going to find that a lot of cousins were siblings because the slave master raped all the women in the same bloodline. Frederick, at the age of 20, escaped from slavery to freedom. He dropped the family name Bailey and picked up Douglas to evade capture under the Fugitive Slave Law. His brother Stephen, my ancestor, remained in slavery. But when the Civil War started, Frederick Douglass and his two sons, 2 of 4, Lewis and Charles, they fought in the Massachusetts 54th Colored Regiment, for which we get the movie Glory. Morgan Freeman actually stars as the elder son of Fred Douglass, but he does not play him by name. But you must be careful not to get your history from movies, because Glory would have you thinking that all the soldiers in the 54th were escaped slaves. Did you know that every black man who fought in the 54th Massachusetts Infantry was a free black man who volunteered to give his life for the freedom of his enslaved brothers? None of them was escaped slaves. My grandfather Stephen and his firstborn son, George Washington Bailey, the nephew of Frederick Douglass, they fought side by side in United States Colored Troops of Maryland 7th Regiment, one of the most bloody regiments in the entire Civil War. After the Civil War, George Washington became the first black public school teacher in Eastern Shore, Talbot County, Maryland. My grandfather Stephen, Frederick's brother, just celebrated his birthday on July 1st, 1819. George Washington Bailey married a black woman named Annie Wayne. They had a daughter named Caroline. Caroline moved to Philadelphia from Maryland to live with her sister. She had a daughter named Vivian. Vivian married a Cuban immigrant by the name of Cicero Noel, my Spanish-speaking great-grandfather who spoke no English. They had a daughter named Ida. Ida had a son named Jamal. On August 21st, 1974, Umar Johnson was born in Philadelphia, 11th generation descendant of the first of our family to be brought here. Power concedes nothing without a demand. It never did, and it never will. Marcus Garvey was once asked, are you a Jamaican or are you an African? Are you a Jamaican or are you an African? And in response to the question, His Excellency Marcus Messiah Garvey, Provisional President of Africa, father of revolutionary Pan-Africanism and black nationalism, the man who gave you Elijah Muhammad, Malcolm X, the Black Panther Party, because all of them drew from the movement of Marcus. In response, he said, I would never, ever, ever give up a continent for an island. I am an African. Yesterday, today, and for all time. I say,
questions, answers, Q&A. Anybody got any questions y'all need to ask?
Any questions? It doesn't matter the topic. Y'all know I deal with everything. When I leave you guys, of course, Rochester, we want y'all to come out tomorrow for the Psycho-Ancestral documentary, 3 o'clock, and Friday for the reading of Frederick Douglass' 4th of July speech. And if you want to go with us to the Harriet Tubman home Friday morning, 8 o'clock, you can make that happen. I'm going to be in South Carolina, Sheldon, South Carolina, Saturday and Sunday for the Oyotunji African Village, 2nd Annual Grassroots Conference. If any of you want to study African religion firsthand, you can get you a plane ticket or get you a rental car and get on down to South Carolina. It's the only African village in America sanctioned by the African religions of Africa. You can get a spirit reading, you can get a name reading, you can get an ancestor reading to find out where you come from in Africa. You can get a destiny reading. You're about to get married, you better hold on and talk to the Lord first. You're about to relocate, you better hold on and talk to the Lord first. You can get all that done. It's going to be workshops on traditional African religion, traditional African marriage, family, education, economics, all of that. You're going to be drumming, food, vendors. It's from Thursday, starting tomorrow, and go to Sunday, but I'll be there Saturday and Sunday. Muta Maruka, the Jamaican poet, will be keynoting Saturday night. Me and him spoke together in Jamaica at the University of the West Indies for National Heroes Month about a year or two ago. I'm in South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Lauderhill, next Thursday to Sunday, the 11th to the 14th. I'm going back over to London, England, the United Kingdom, 19th and 20th of July. I'll be in Haiti for the first time, celebrating the voodoo ceremony that triggered the Haitian Revolution. August the 16th to the 22nd. Got me family in Little Rock, Arkansas. Little Rock, Arkansas, the birthplace of school desegregation. Remember the Little Rock 9? I'll be there July 27th. I'll be in Kansas City, Kansas for the first time. August the 25th, I'll be in Washington, D.C. this coming Tuesday, speaking at the University of Washington, D.C. Several other places coming up. You can follow me on the website, Twitter, Facebook, telephone. Questions? Yes, ma'am. I'll repeat.
When is the school year?
My school, God willing, it'll be open September 2015. So we got 2 more years. North Philly, Inc. Susquehanna, Jill Scott, Bill Cosby, from Westwood? Get out of here. Oh, you ain't got a Westwood Park?
Mount Airy.
Oh, Mount Airy, okay. That was a little bourgeois. All right. I'm playing with y'all. I got family up in Mount Airy. Who else we got? Question? The brother and the sister. Talk to me, brother.
I'd like to know about,
Quiet down, please. Quiet down.
plan on, opening up your own, school and everything. My question is, how do you, well, first of all, I would like to say that, I was listening to this thing that happened in Mississippi not too long ago. I guess it was last year. And the guy, has said something to the effect that he thinks that learned people, don't fight. And this just happened last year.
You think what kind of people?
Learned people don't fight.
Okay.
And my question is how do you plan on handling teaching kids, the basic fact of racism? What would be your science in that area?
I'm working on a book for children on white supremacy. Introduction to White Supremacy for Black Children. Because they need to understand.
Right.
Very important. At what age do children recognize race? 4 years old. They are able to recognize it. They are also able to determine what type of respect their race gets at 4. And when are we teaching them about white supremacy? 24. That is much too late. Give it to them young. They need to know that when he walks into the public school, these people are there to miseducate, medicate, special educate, incriminate, exterminate on purpose. We cannot keep our children from the truth. That is part of the problem. We got a sister right here and a brother in the back.
I have 2 questions. My first question was, how much is it for you to do public speaking at colleges usually? Because I'm a senior at Buffalo State.
At what state?
At Buffalo State.
Buffalo State.
Yeah, and I was a part of the African American student organization last year, and we had a lot of speakers coming in from time to time, and I think it would be really interesting to have some people, I went to the last time this year, but I think it would be really interesting when it comes to, would it be good to email you about that?
Yeah, you just email me. My website is on my media board back there, but it's drumarjohnson.com. Email is the same thing with Yahoo. DR, no period, drumarjohnson@yahoo.com. I fill up quickly, so let me know no matter how far out, and I'll work with y'all. I was invited to Buffalo for Kwanzaa last year, but I had to turn it down because I was in Liberia, and I've never been to Buffalo, so I was upset I had to turn it down, but I was already scheduled for Liberia around Christmas time. So I would love to come.
Okay.
I would love to come.
Brother right here in the orange, and then I got the brother from Utica.
Yes. Thank you for coming, first of all. You know, I told you I listened to you on the internet or not.
Yes, sir.
Check it out. I just wanted to know if you could speak on, I read something, I don't remember where, that they were closing schools in Philadelphia, but at the same time, they were building a prison.
Yes.
So I wonder if you could speak on the school to prison connection
Well,
that they have there.
school is a state function. Incarceration is a state function. Because schools were built to prepare black folks to work for white folks, and were no longer needed to work for white folks because they got to live with immigrants to do that. There's no longer a need for education. But you need to find a way to get all these surplus black men out of the society so they don't have to look at us. That is the purpose of incarceration and gentrification. See, the school districts are playing a role in the black removal, the ethnic cleansing of the inner city. If I want to get rid of black people from the inside of Syracuse, I got to get rid of the schools that teach their children. I can't move them out until I eliminate the education that the kids are dependent on. So the school system is working with the local government and the business and the banks using your church money to get us the hell out the way. A decision was made 10 years ago that white folks will come back to the inner cities of America where they once started. They only moved to the suburbs to get away from us during the Great Migration and so forth and so forth. They tired of running because they find out that no matter where they move, you chase them. Because you love white folks so much, I don't give a damn if they go to the mountain, you will move next door because you love them. So white folks says, you know what, we tired of running. Let's go back to where we started, because they're going to follow us anyway. But this way, we're going to keep them out, because we're going to let them move out to the suburbs, and they think they're living with us, but before you know it, we back in the city, and we're going to raise the property value so high in the house that we know they won't be able to live there anyway. This is what is happening. It is not local, it is international. Not only are they gentrifying every major city in America, even the non-majors, they gentrify in London. This is happening all around the world. In the Caribbean, certain Caribbean countries are being gentrified by the white folks over there. This is worldwide, which is why we say Pan-Africanism. It's the same everywhere, brothers. I done been everywhere, sisters. It is the same. And we got to organize globally. The white man is global. The Asian is global. You think you're going to overcome either one of those oppressions by not being global yourself? Anytime you hear Negroes say, well, we should just worry about what's going on here. Africa ain't our problem. Or are you aware that your problem is the fact you ain't got interest in Africa's problem? Do you think you're going to get respect without Africa getting respect? If your family don't get no respect, you don't get none. We know that in the hood, don't we? If you came from a family that always got their ass kicked in Syracuse, you ain't no different. Even if you can fight, you still get included with them. Because you cannot escape your heritage. But you got 40 million blacks in America thinking they're going to get equality by ignoring their mother continent. What did Marcus Garvey say? A strong man is strong everywhere he goes. Chinese people get respect wherever they go because China gets respect. Anglo-Saxons get respect wherever they go because Britain gets respect. And black people don't get respect no matter where you go because Africa ain't got no respect. You cannot climb higher than your mother.
Question by Brother Phil.
Elder.
Once again, my brother, I want to thank you for returning up to this part of the country.
Oh, yes, sir.
Blessing us with your knowledge and your information. And I'm hopeful that when you and Gus can work out a schedule, I'll be able to sit back and listen to 3 hours of your dialogue. Gus does a wonderful job, and you guys are wonderful together. Gus T. Renegade, Context of White Supremacy. Brother, that's where I first met you. I told you I went down and visited with Brother Khalif, H. Khalifa, and the Nat Turner Museum, and it was a wonderful, wonderful experience. And the thing that he impressed on me, he was 72 last year, he's going on 73 this year, reparations, reparations, reparations. So when I look around this audience and I see these young people here, this discussion has to continue with them. And I know that you're going to feed them that information, they can take that to the next level. Basically, sisters and brothers, you haven't been paid for the work your people did. And that billions of dollars is still out there. And I've watched gay and lesbian organizations get together and replace our movement with their movement. And you now have a reason to get back out there in those streets peacefully and begin to agitate. And this brother right here done gave you what you need. If you take that message that he's giving you, you got what you need to take it the rest of the way. So each one teach one, and hopefully you can make a change, make a difference. I want to commend you, brother. I'll be with y'all the next time.
Dr. Umar.
Over there.
Thank you for coming, and thank you guys for hosting this. I'm a parent, I'm a mother of 7, and I'm also a college student. I'm an OCC, I'm taking up a degree in professional communications. I have it in the last. And my ultimate goal right now, I'm a registered child care provider in my home. My ultimate goal is to get the funding that I need to get a building so that we can open up schools here in the Syracuse area. And also, I wanted to know about the blacklist. But back to what I was saying first, they are making it so hard for me. You know, they're trying anything they can in their power to take our registration from me. They just coming up with excuses because they see my potential and they're scared to death of where I'm going to be in the next 2 to 5 years.
You got to continue to fight the fight. You cannot give up. Okay? White supremacy's persistence tends to wear us down. You got to have endurance, so you can't win easy. But get in contact with me, and let's see what you're working on and what they're trying to do. I can probably give you some ideas to counteract that. All right, plus Sister Twiggy is here. She did a lot with that kind of stuff, too. So.
Something also that you said. I happen to be on the blacklist. Everybody in this room knows that I'm on the blacklist for the Syracuse City School District. If I call them, they'll hang up there. They don't suspend my kids. They call me. They do all. If you need to find out how to get on the blacklist, 395-2644. I don't have any problem with teaching you. If you have a problem in the school district, and Dr. Umar is not here, that's why we network together. I call the brother, I email the brother all the time. Call me, get me into the school. Reverend Baum is right there, Nasheed is right there, ask him too. The imam is back here, ask him. I don't play no games when I walk into the school about our kids. Some of y'all in here have been with me when y'all were in school. I don't play any games with the district and when it comes to our kids. So what he said about the blacklist, I can attest to, it's true. They hate to see me coming through the door. I'm just as much of a friend to the school district as I am a thorn in its side. You've seen what I did to the suspension rate, and it's not over there yet. If the Department of Justice need to come in, we'll bring them in. Whatever needs to happen, because you know what? I'm not willing to settle for your kid. I love your kid like I love my kid's son in the back, like I love my nephew in the front, like I love I don't know how to love anybody like you're not mine. I only know how to love you like you're mine. So again, remember that blacklist. It's important what he said. Make sure they know when you coming, not crazy. Because that's a way for you to get arrested since they do have police in the schools. We have parents getting arrested too because we go there head rocking, ready to fight the kids, stomping like this, and we're showing our kids how to act. So we need to be careful what we do and make sure that we go in eloquently, factually, and stood fed that they're not going to harm our kids.
You said that number is
395-2644.
I just have one question about the Zimmerman case. I don't know if you've been following it, but the sister Rachel Gentile, in the attack that she had to deal with, you know, after she gave her testimony, you know. And like I said, they use a lot of cold words, you know, like uneducated, this, that, but do you think it was flat out racist attack?
Hell yeah. Flat out racist. She was a firm sister. She stood her ground, and she was chocolate. Yeah. So, you know, all that went into that. This whole case is a bunch of crap. How in the hell can a man with a gun pursuing a child feel threatened? You pursuing me, you're bigger than me, you got a weapon I don't, and you threatened me. This bull crap. This is white supremacy at its best right here. And it bothers me to watch it because we entertaining.
Not just threatened, scared.
Yeah.
He was scared. He says that he was scared.
He said he was scared.
Why you got hurt? Why you got
Today, they showed the Trayvon's hoodie. Did you see that? He shot him point blank in the heart. There wasn't even a shot to stop. He shot him point blank in the heart. That was a shoot to kill right there. That was a bit, and you know what bothered me today? His former teacher, the JAG Corps lawyer, the black dude who took the stand today, he was one of the best students I had in my class. How you doing, David Zimmerman, whatever? Yeah. He helped the defense, this nigga helped the defense by playing down Zimmerman and raising him up as this great student he had. Y'all should not bother me today. How black folks do this is a black kid who was murdered. He want to sit up here and say things to help him win his case. But I'm going to tell you where we messed up, black folks. The era was after the murder. We allowed the case to drag along. It was too nonchalantly handled from the beginning. He should have never gotten bail. We should have never allowed Al Sharpton to intercept his parents. That's when this damage was done. How the hell are you going to be home chilling for killing a defenseless child? So the way we let this thing go down actually set the pretext for this nonsense we saw.
Plus the fact his father was a judge.
Trayvon? No, Zimmerman. Yeah. Yeah, but we could have still fought against that.
If we would got into it right then and
The reaction was very weak. Remember what Douglas said? You get treated how you allow yourself to be treated. We allowed this thing to drag on, and they pushed it to after Obama's election to make sure it didn't affect that sellout. And you now seeing what you're going to see now. A damn shame. But you better watch that case. If you ain't got a gun, you better get a gun. If you ain't licensed, you better get a license. Okay? Because any day, stuff can hit the fan. And you ain't going to be able to win a war with nobody.
But even under your state code, though, with a license, I mean, you still that nigga that's going.
Well, you can have a gun in your house without a license. That's right. That's that Fourth Amendment rights. But you best get them. One gun a month, whatever it is, you need to be able to protect yourself and your family in the event.
What about the prison state codes, though?
What they got to do with you buying a gun? You can get a gun, I got it. You can get it. You can get it. Get a bow and arrow. I'm going to get the archery joint. I'm going to have all types of stuff. Hot boiling water and everything for my stuff. Brother Lawrence.
You spoke about 2015 that you're going to have a school. And somebody wants to see concrete foundational stuff get built. I'm hoping that folks here, again, will take the responsibility, because I didn't hear you say that you had a location or a place or a community that you intend to.
I'm still open on location.
So I want folks to, when you speak to that you're in fact open, and that folks can participate by making Syracuse a place if they want that for their children.
That wasn't loud enough if y'all really wanted.
Any more questions for the night?
If not,
Yes,
me and
ma'am.
my family will be relocated to wherever you go.
All right, I'm glad to hear it. Well, I'm going to migrate to the back of the room in case I need to sign any books and posters. I got t-shirts and DVDs back there as well. I didn't give y'all my phone number. Let me do that now. In case you need to text me for any information about tomorrow's events or any other event. My phone number is area code 215-215-989-9858. 215-989-9858. Fax number 215-827-5404. 215-827-5404. You can fax me any documents I need to take a look at. So I'm going to migrate to the back of the room. Thanks for the love. Come out to Rochester, and I'll see y'all again soon. Peace and love.